That Friday seemed like any other night. We had decided to meet at my house, as we often did, to chat and share a pizza. We were a close-knit group of friends, bonded for years. Among us was Hiro, a peculiar guy, always drawn to the spiritual, the unknown, things most of us found too strange to take seriously. But that night, Hiro showed us something none of us were prepared to face. The evening began calmly. We gathered around the table, the pizza arrived on time, and the conversations flowed as usual. Hiro was quieter than usual, but we didn't think much of it. He said he'd had an exhausting day at work and just needed to relax. But soon, he started sweating and complaining of a sharp headache. "Are you okay?" I asked, setting my glass down on the table. "I just need a moment," he replied in a strained voice, getting up from the table. We watched as he headed to the master bedroom, presumably to rest for a bit. Minutes later, we heard something odd. At first, it was a faint murmur, barely audible, but it soon turned into laughter. A laughter that was anything but human, deep, guttural, and as if it came from someone else entirely. We froze. "What the hell?" one of my friends muttered, staring toward the hallway. A chill ran down my spine. Something was terribly wrong. I stood up to check on him, but halfway down the hall, the laughter stopped abruptly. For a moment, the silence was so heavy it felt as if even the air had stopped moving. I cautiously opened the bedroom door, and what I saw left me speechless. Hiro stood in the center of the room, swaying from side to side with strange, puppet-like movements. His face was tense, and though his eyes were open, his pupils had vanished, leaving only a milky white. He began laughing again, that same unnerving, otherworldly laughter that seemed to emanate from somewhere dark and unfathomable. "Hiro," I shouted, but he didn't respond. I bolted back to the living room, trembling. My wife and the others stared at me, expecting an explanation, but before I could say anything, Hiro emerged from the hallway. He walked slowly, dragging his feet, as if each step required immense effort. "He wants to talk to you," he said, pointing a shaky finger at me. My wife went pale as paper. No one said a word, but I felt I couldn't refuse. I returned to the bedroom, even though every instinct screamed at me to stay away. Inside, Hiro stood by the window. When he heard me enter, he turned slowly. His face was eerily serene, almost as if he no longer belonged to the living world. He walked toward me with deliberate steps. When he stopped in front of me, he let out a low growl and uttered words that haunt me to this day. "This is my house." The room instantly grew cold. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. Without warning, Hiro dropped to his knees before me. My body was paralyzed as he grabbed my feet and kissed them with a strange reverence, as if enacting some ancient ritual. Then he raised a hand and placed it over my stomach, moving it gently as if cradling something invisible, something I couldn't see but that he clearly felt. "What are you doing?" I managed to ask, my voice trembling. He didn't answer. He continued in silence, cradling the invisible presence, until the house phone suddenly rang. The sound shattered the trance, and Hiro collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. His eyes returned to normal, and when he looked up at me, he seemed utterly confused. "What happened?" he asked, his voice shaking. I couldn't find the words to respond. The room felt charged with an unsettling energy, as if something or someone was still there, watching us. For weeks, I couldn't shake the memory of that night. Then, a month later, my wife gave me unexpected news. She was pregnant. I remembered how Hiro had touched my stomach, as if he had known before we did. The thought sent chills down my spine. I tried talking to Hiro about what had happened, but he avoided the subject. He claimed to remember nothing and insisted he didn't want to know. I didn't press him. There was something too disturbing about it all. The most unsettling part came later. I discovered that the house's previous owner had died suddenly 8 months earlier, in the same bedroom where Hiro's strange behavior occurred. The thought made my skin crawl. Since then, I've been unable to shake the feeling that some presence still lingers here, watching, waiting, claiming what it believes is rightfully its own. This is my house. Those words still echo in my mind.